everyone, welcome back to Pandemic Cooking. We are going to be doing a homemade potato gnocchi today with a homemade rosé sauce baked with mozzarella cheese. This recipe is so good and so simple, and I'm going to show you how to do this with the ingredients that you probably have kicking around in your pantry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my potato gnocchi. The first thing I have to do is I need to peel, dice, and boil my potatoes. I like using a russet potato. The reason why is because I find it gives a really nice creamy texture. They're cheap, they're readily available. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a quick peel. You do not want to leave these unpeeled because what we're going for is we're going for a really soft and creamy texture of the potato gnocchi. Now I use russet potatoes for pierogies as well. You could, if you were getting bougie and like super cool, you could be using a butternut squash or a sweet potato or something like that. I'm gonna stick with just plain old russets, but if you have another starchy vegetable kicking around the house, then you can go ahead and use that. I'm just gonna cut that little piece out. It's not, I can see it, it's way deep in there. Okay, just that little ear. So make sure that you dice your potato. It doesn't really matter the size because we are going to be mashing it basically to a paste. So once you've got your potatoes chopped, they're going to go into your pot with salt, your boiling water with salt. We're gonna cook them until they are totally cooked through, and we will come back when that's done. See you in a minute. Okay everyone, welcome back. My potatoes are cooked, I can tell, because when I go to stick a fork in them, they don't stick onto the... Didn't stick onto the fork, okay? So you also want to like, why aren't they breaking? I feel like they're totally done. Look at this, I squished on the side there. You want to almost overcook them because you don't want them to be undercooked at all. You don't want any hard parts of potato in your gnocchi. You want it to become one with the dough, and you don't want a little bit of undercooked potato. So I'm going to drain these off. Give them a shake. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them into my KitchenAid mixer with the paddle attachment. If you don't have a KitchenAid mixer, then you can go ahead and just use a potato masher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mash, basically I'm going to mash these potatoes in the mixer. While they're cooling down, I'm going to add about a teaspoon, maybe half a teaspoon because I like some things a bit too salty. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt. And I'm just gonna stir it, let it mix for a minute, and let that heat cook off. Because what I don't wanna do is I don't wanna crack my egg, yes, into here, and then have scrambled egg gnocchi. Okay, so, I'm going to just give it a little scrape. It's not like mashing potatoes like to go with, you know, a roast dinner or something, because we don't want, because we are not going to be adding any cream or anything at this point, okay? So I'm just going to feel the bottom of the bowl. I'm going to gauge how hot it is based on if I can touch it. I can't touch it. I want that steam to come off for another minute. See you in a minute. Okay, so the potatoes have cooled down. I can feel the outside of the bowl without burning myself, and the potatoes actually feel cooler than the bowl. So I am okay. I'm gonna keep the mixer going. I'm gonna crack the egg in. So the rule of thumb for me making gnocchi is 2 potatoes, 1 egg. Give it a bit of a cream. Stop and scrape it down. Give it one more kind of blast. Beautiful, that looks really good. I don't see too many potato lumps. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the attachment mixer. So I'm going to get the potato off here, and I'm gonna switch it to my dough hook. So it was only recently that I discovered this method. I find making gnocchi dough by hand is actually pretty difficult because it always feels really quite sticky to me. So when I discovered doing it this way, it made my life so much easier. All right, so now we're going to add enough flour. The reason why I'm not being like very clear with the recipe, number one, that's how I work usually. But the reason why is because it depends on the size of the potatoes, depends on what size of egg you use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a generous amount of flour. I'm going to add 1 cup of flour. And then now I've got the dough hook going. So in the other videos, if you've seen us make the cinnamon bun dough or Mr. Dawson make the pizza dough, it takes kind of a minute to get it cooking. And then once you do, then it's great fun. I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna get the potato off the side here. But gnocchi dough, you want it to be pretty stiff because you want to be able to cut it and shape it. Okay, so don't be alarmed at this point. It's much easier to do it with the mixer than it is by hand. I need it to catch the sides here. Bring it together with my hands and just see. Okay, so I can squeeze it into a dough, but you can still see like it's quite sticky. So let me just kind of give it a squeeze together. And then I want to get it kneading because it is like any other type of bread dough that you want to knead to develop that gluten because you want that really stretchy texture. Welcome back. So every time I make gnocchi dough, I'm like, that's enough flour, and the more you mix it, the stickier it gets. So you really want to spend that time because you don't want to have a dough that's too sticky and that's not going to hold its shape. So I believe we added probably about 2.5 cups of flour to the recipe. And I'm still going to use more flour as I roll it out, okay? So I'm going to put a little flour down on the board. I'm going to cut off a piece of the dough. I'm going to cover the rest of the dough. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to roll out the piece of dough. It's actually pretty good. It's not overly sticky, which I always worry about. Then the way I learned how to do gnocchi, you can buy little boards with the little divots in it. But if you don't have the little divots, what you can use is a fork. So I'm going to show you how to do this. You're going to cut little pieces of gnocchi. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll them down the back of a fork. Now, when I do this, maybe it's because I do not have Italian blood in me. Actually, I think Ancestry.ca or like whatever that 23andMe, maybe I've like got a little bit, but it's not enough to really shine in the gnocchi making. For me, they always puff back up. I don't have the lines in them. What the lines do are the little divots. The more texture you have in pasta, the more it holds sauce. But for me, this adds, oh, I don't know, half an hour of making gnocchi, and I don't have it. So what I do, perfect, done. Okay, so that's what I do. And to be honest with you, you want to make them the same size. I've been to restaurants where they've served gnocchi in all different sorts of shapes because for me, the time that it takes between this and this, for me personally, is not worth it. They're going to be as equally as delicious. So what we're gonna do, me and Ms. N, we're going to cut these gnocchi. We're gonna come back. Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. So Ms. Nostrovich started doing the fork thing, and apparently she's Italian. So girlfriend has got some Italian blood in her, and they look great. I don't know what I do. She like did a little toss in flour. But anyway, congratulations and thank you so much. I really appreciate
You're welcome.
learning from you. Okay, so what we have going on here is we have our boiling water. I brought that pot to a boil right now because they always take so long to get boiling. I'm just gonna leave this on high with the lid on for now because I want to talk about the Alfredo. So in the fettuccine Alfredo video, I did explain this all and I did start this with you, but I just wanted to get it going and show you. What I did is I melted a couple tablespoons of butter. I put about 4 cloves of minced garlic in, and then I added a couple cups of cream. So what Alfredo sauce is, in case you didn't watch that first video, it was our very first video. So it was chaos and very long because we weren't editing anything, so it's like just stand here with me. So you want to bring it to a boil. You don't be afraid of heat when you're making Alfredo sauce. The fat in the whipping cream is stable, okay? So you're not gonna burn, but what you need to do, I like to use a spatula so I can keep scraping the side. This is where it reduces first on the sides of the pan and on the bottom. So what I like to do is I like to keep scraping until the mixture is getting nice and thick, till it's reducing, okay? Once the mixture has reduced, I'm just gonna gauge how much I need for my gnocchi and all that kind of stuff. Then we're gonna come back. When I'm happy with this, I'm gonna add the tomato sauce to make the rosé. Once that's going, we'll cook the gnocchi together and then we'll put it all together and get into the oven, okay? So in fact, take a look at the cream here. I added actually a little bit more heavy cream and it's really reducing nicely. I'm going to just let it reduce there for a moment while I drop my gnocchi in. Okay, it's kind of like dropping pierogies in where you just have to be brave, okay? Just drop them in. They're going to kind of sink to the bottom. So I'm going to show you what you need to do. You need to have, I've got a spider here, but you need to have a slotted spoon if you don't have a spider handy. This is the same for pierogies. Oh, now the dishwasher stopped. I can stop yelling. Okay, once they're in the water, you're going to keep it on maximum and you're just going to really, really gently move them from the bottom because you don't want to start slicing them, okay? Okay. I am actually going to put the lid back on. This pot loses so much heat once we add stuff. Okay, so I'm going to let that come back to a boil. Now I've got my cream sauce here. You could stop here. You could add Parmesan cheese. I should do that now, shouldn't I? I should.
Add Parmesan?
Yeah. Okay. Stand by. Let me grab some Parm. Where's that big bucket of parm? Oh, there it is. I was boy looking. You can edit that out, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna add about 1/4 cup of the dried Parmesan. Me and Ms. N, we differ on our opinions here. I like the dry, crappy Kraft, mainly because you'd have it at home, and it just like becomes one with the cream. It doesn't get stringy. What? Okay, tell me why you like the other one.
It's just better.
It is,
but I mean,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I've told you about the person I live with and what he likes to cook with. So of course we have both parms in the fridge.
Yeah, like a Parmigiano Reggiano, hundo P, way better. And like if we do a risotto video, I will absolutely use Parmigiano Reggiano. And not like the petals, nothing else. I will get the bread. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna break up that little parm there you see. Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, to make a rosé sauce, I'm gonna use this very, very high quality tomato sauce. Okay, right here. I'm gonna start with about 1/2 cup. And the reason why is because I don't wanna thin it out too much. Okay, so and I kind of like overcooked the cream because I knew that I was gonna be adding tomato sauce and that's gonna thin it out. So it doesn't look dark enough to me. I want it a little bit more tomatoey. 1/4 cup. I'm gonna bring the heat back up. You could pan up. Thank you. Little pepper, little salt. You could add an Italian seasoning, some fresh basil. You could be doing any of those things. totally awesome. Would add a really beautiful flavor to your gnocchi. I like to keep it super, super simple. For me, if I have it, sure, I'll do a little fresh basil, maybe a little fresh parsley when it comes out of the oven. But we are in a pandemic, people. If you do not want to go to Safeway and get the fresh herbs, do not, okay? But for me, just a simple, simple sauce with very, very few ingredients. I'm gonna give it a quick taste to make sure that it's flavored enough. Oh, it's so good. I'm gonna leave, I was gonna add salt, but I'm gonna leave it. Okay, let's come back to the gnocchi. I want to bring a bubble here. Sorry, come back to the sauce. I want to bring a little bubble here because I do want it to reduce a little bit more. I don't want it to be too thick. I'm still scraping the sides and the bottoms, and now I'm just gonna give it a moment, okay? All right, gnocchi. So Grandma Stelmaschuk says, till they float for pierogies, till they float and a minute more. To be honest with you, cooking fresh pasta, kind of like the fettuccine video, I'm always like, it seems done, and then I try it and it's not done. Depending on how much flour you've added to this recipe is gonna determine how long these take to cook. If you wanted to cook half, freeze half, put them on a baking tray with some parchment paper, pop them in the freezer, and then once they're frozen, then you can move them to a Ziploc, and you can just cook however many you wanted for that meal. Okay, I'm gonna give it a cut. I'm gonna give it a taste. Done, okay? Am I gonna burn myself while I do this? Okay,
Probably.
Probably. Bring it over. Drain them. Oh, we got one lone guy. Ugh, stuck, there she goes. Okay, quick shake. Come back into the pot here, Sarah, if you don't mind. You can see the little pieces where it's stuck. That's why it's really, really important that you bring that spoon in there or the spider and just get them off the bottom. Otherwise, you're gonna have lots of pieces on the bottom. All right, I'm gonna bake this in a square 8x8 pan. Sorry, I should have just transferred them into here. Perfect, that looks like a good fit.
Look at those perfect little gnocchi shapes.
Now I'm going to, don't know if I'm gonna need all of the sauce. So I'm gonna pour some of the sauce. I'm just gonna toss it around. And as I bake it in the oven, it is going to swell up a bit. So you know what, I am just gonna scrape the rest of the sauce, because why the heck not? And what am I gonna use this for, right?
Right.
Why the heck not?
Why the heck not?
Boop. Just kind of coat your gnocchi.
I do like a saucy bake.
Do you like a saucy bake?
I find
Agreed.
like the pasta dries out if it's
Agreed.
If you don't have enough sauce.
Agreed. Okay, I've got some grated mozzarella here. Now listen, I like a cheese, team. I don't need any judgments right here. I'm gonna put it on top of the gnocchi. I'm gonna do a generous topping. This is like the cinnamon buns that came out of the oven, and I was like, oh, sweet mother of pearl. Little parmy parm. Okay, I've got my oven on broil. I've got it on broil low, just so I don't like ignite it. And we're gonna be back in a few minutes when this is coming out of the oven. Bye. Okay, oh my God, it's like the cinnamon buns. I did put it on high because I was getting impatient. You're looking for that beautiful golden color of cheese. It smells absolutely incredible. When you go to serve it up, you're just gonna have this like beautiful bowl of fresh homemade gnocchi. Didn't take us that long. Remember a couple key points from the video. The dough is gonna need more flour than you think. It's gonna take a little bit more time than you think, but just trust, okay? The second it gets sticky, add a little bit more and keep going, okay? I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to smash that subscribe button. Where is it? I don't know, down here somewhere. Put something in the comments to tell us how great we're doing. And we'll see you on the flip side, team. Bye.